Summer campaign, week 6. We are back outside again. We're still outside.
Yeah.
Welcome, Will.
Thank you, Jack. It's great to be here.
Good. It's great to be doing these videos. Right, this week we thought we'd take a look at how people are getting more engaged and some advice we've got for you. So somebody on Sunday said to me, while we were having a chat, can you give me some advice on helping people when I see them in the street? Somebody spoke to you about an encounter somebody had had.
In London, actually.
And we're getting this, more and more people are wanting to make a difference, and engaging with people on the street is one way of doing that. As we've spoken on these videos before, one of the best ways is to be very knowledgeable about the things going on in your area that help the people on the street, Will.
So it's really helpful if you know where your nearest food bank is to make the referral. Don't just simply, have you contacted your local food bank? Or it might be worth you contact. Find out who it is. You know, in Stafford you've got a huge amount of food banks. So you've got the food bank at House of Bread, you've got Rising Brook Food Bank, I think you've got a new food bank opening at the Ark Cafe at Ealing Church, you've got the food bank at the Signpost Centre, Holmcroft, and also there's one other that escapes me, but I'll come back.
Christian Food Help.
Christian Food Help, that was the one I wanted. Peter, if you're watching, hello. So there's a plethora of food banks available that offer different forms of food in terms of referral processes. So find out where they're located. That was number one. So the other thing is be informed about the Borough Council, understand what housing options do. Find out what it means to make a referral. I mean, you saying, you need to get hold of housing options. So the words you need to use are, you need to go to the Borough Council office on Riverside. We all know where that is. It's just past Revolution, down by the river. And you need to ask that person to ask for housing options.
And if they've registered as homeless and where they are on that journey.
Yeah, so have they registered as homeless? No, they haven't. Okay, well, they need to go down to housing options. They're lovely people who work in housing options, and they will take you through that person through the homeless application, which does take a bit of time, so encourage them to go. So those are some practical things.
Yeah, and that's just knowing about the area you're in. If you're watching these and you're not in Stafford, try and familiarise yourself with what Will has said, where your local council is, and how they can help. The second is, if you want to help anybody practically, so we say time and time again on these videos, please don't give anybody money. That might seem harsh, but as lovely as everybody is, we're not always sure where that money is going. Also, it can be a real temptation if somebody is really battling an addiction suddenly to have lots of extra cash in their hand. It's not the greatest way to help somebody.
No.
It really could be. There could be somebody on the street who just needs that £10, but it is a huge risk, and there are other statutory organisations that are set up to help people with that. But in terms of when we're buying food and stuff, Will, we've heard a lot of stories about people encountering homeless people and vulnerable people with preferences and being shocked by that.
So the person who shared a story on Sunday happened to speak to a work colleague, and this work colleague was very upset that the cup of coffee they'd taken to this homeless person that they'd met in London didn't have any sugar in it. Now, actually, that's not an unreasonable request. And what we've been saying for ages on these videos, and we're going to bang on about it now, is actually, if you're engaging with that person, find out whether they like tea or coffee or whether they like sugar or not.
Well, me and Will were chatting about this, and we thought, how much would it take if you were homeless and you hadn't had a cup of coffee all day and it was your favourite drink and somebody offered it to you? Wouldn't you like it to be your favourite cup of coffee, the way you like it? I don't like coffee, so I would decline because I wouldn't drink that coffee. Somebody might assume. So the best way to go around, and we get the same with fish and chips having salt and vinegar on, we get the same if you're buying sandwiches, vegetarians. Just because somebody is homeless does not mean that they put aside all their joys in life and anything that they might be very passionate about. So when you're buying something for somebody, try and have a conversation with them first.
Be
what I do
about
is,
the choice.
what I tend to do is, hello, how are you? Oh yes, can I have this? Let me go and grab it for you. Do you like sugar? Do you like milk? It's always great to ask somebody their preference, because these people are human beings.
I think the other thing as well is, try not to be judging. We talked about this at the school I was at on Friday. If you see somebody sitting in the street, the chances are they are homeless or vulnerably housed, but they're certainly vulnerable and they're certainly in need. Otherwise you wouldn't be on the street. Nobody chooses to do that. And I think
there might be a few. The media likes to portray some horror stories about people who get taxis and all sorts, but there are endless problems with somebody who is on the street and maybe begging or maybe asking for stuff. It really is a horrible situation. Moving on to another bit that makes the whole thing about approaching people tense is you are a stranger. If you've met this person before, obviously you're not a stranger, but when you first approach somebody, you are a stranger. Just because you might be holding £1 million doesn't mean that you are any different from the previous person.
Doesn't give you any extra rights, does it?
No, and it doesn't mean you're any different than the previous stranger they met who urinated on them, who beat them up, who verbally abused them, who set them on fire, their stories. So remember, you are a stranger, and to that homeless person, strangers are dangerous. So be really welcoming, maybe announce your arrival before you get there. Hello, how are you? You're all right.
Name, if you want to give your name. I always say, hi, my name's Will, what's your name?
Can I talk to you? Have you got time?
Are you comfortable for me to talk to you?
Yeah.
It's
basically, if you would meet anybody else in the street, it's just the same. Just because you're helping that person doesn't give you any special
rights.
Rights,
that's right. So that's really important. So find out who the person is, not necessarily the name. Just introduce yourself. Be welcoming, being open.
But it's great to be having this conversation because it means that more and more people are engaging.
And that's good news.
So just to recap, that's know all the information about your local area, what the council can do to offer any food banks or any cafes like ours or any social community places that are open for people to go to if they haven't already engaged. 2, don't forget, everybody has their preference. So if you're going to buy food for somebody, ask them first what they would like. And by all means, if that's more than you can afford, you can tell them. You can say, look, I was just going to buy you a ham sandwich, not a gourmet pate, something that you're used to. And remember, you are a stranger. So do approach somebody with care and try and be friendly. Don't assume because that person is begging, they want to engage with you for your help. That might seem a bit counterintuitive, but I can't express how many homeless people I've spoken to who, you can't sleep at night because you can't close your eyes and know that you're going to be safe in the morning. So yes, strangers are really dangerous to homeless people, and you will be one. But obviously, if you get up a conversation and you have chats with people, it becomes easier, and you also get to know their preferences.
And you're making a difference by stopping and doing something. That's really important.
It's really, if somebody meets somebody who's nice, we've had countless conversations with homeless people who have been street homeless for a long time, and they say they can tell straight away whether somebody is genuine or they're just doing something to make themselves feel better. Right, thank you very much, Will, for joining me on that one.
Really helpful advice.
A really, really good video. Thank you so much for watching these. I hope they don't get boring or too heavy. If you don't like the heavy stuff, check out Hob News on Sundays at 4. That's our more light-hearted videos where we talk about all the ongoings in the week at Cafe 43, at House of Bread, at Bread Church, and beyond, like Trinity Cafe and all sorts. That's great to get all your dates for your diary to come along and maybe help us out. Right, we're going to stop talking. As ever, thank you very much for watching. Please like and share these videos. They're not just for people of Stafford, they're for everybody. We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.